Center. We're here for the annual conference of the Mississippi Municipal League. We are pleased for our sponsors. We are grateful to our sponsors, I should say. That's Raymond James Financial and also Covington County Hospital. But joining us now is Kenny Holloway, the mayor of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Mayor, good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So we were talking to Mayor Nowell, Mayor McAdams earlier in the program. We're both remarking at the large crowd on hand here today. Say it's the largest ever.
That's what I hear, yep, about over 2,000.
Wow, that's incredible. So folks are coming from the cities, from the counties. They come here to learn from their colleagues, their peers, and lots of educational sessions as well. Right. 68, I'm told.
Yeah, over 300 vendors out there.
Wow.
So, so I've got to facilitate one here at 1:30 today, legislative
oh, you do?
Preview. Yeah.
Okay.
Or review.
Review. So would that be focusing on the prior session, the 2024 session?
It was. I currently am, and the legislative chair for MML.
Okay.
So spent a lot of time with the staff in Jackson this past session.
Okay.
After 4 months, I can understand why they're all ready to get out of there.
You know, I heard that it was a common theme from the members of the legislature that they were all exhausted by the time they got started into the fourth month, much less at the end of it. Of course, the 3 sessions remaining in the term will be the standard 3-month variety, right. So it won't be quite that trying, quite that challenging. What happened from your perspective, Mayor, this year during the session that is of particular interest to municipalities and counties?
Well, the hot topic for municipalities and counties and school districts was the PERS.
Right.
You know, they wanted to raise it up to 25.5%. After further discussion and conferences and so forth, it's going to be 0.5% for the next 5 years, which I think that's manageable for most of us. If they had taken the jumps the way they wanted, we would probably have to look at ad valorem taxes, and that's something we don't ever want to do. Yeah. And we surely don't want to do it in an election year that's coming up for the municipalities.
Yeah. So instead of the 5% increase, percentage points actually, that was scheduled to go into effect on wages July the 1st, coming up just next week, and that was something that was passed by the PERS board. They had the power to do so. Of course, that's changed now with legislation.
It has changed.
So the board cannot unilaterally just increase the employer contribution rate. But that was essentially amended to be 0.5 point over 5 years, total of 2.5%.
That's correct.
So you feel like that? You guys can absorb that?
I think we can manage that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as the economy stays good.
Yeah.
We've seen some fluctuations in sales tax, but Ocean Springs is fortunate. We maintained some growth year over year, so that'll help.
And a very popular tourist destination. You guys have done a lot, particularly with the downtown area. I mean, it's really neat.
Yeah, well, thank you. I can't take credit for that. I've only been the mayor 3 years. But Ocean Springs has been discovered, and people want to come and visit. They want to live in Ocean Springs. And, I was talking earlier this morning with Ricky Matthews on his show, and I told him the 3 things that really make Ocean Springs successful is our downtown area, our medical community. We have a great hospital, and our school district. We got the #1 rated school district in the state of Mississippi.
In the state, yeah, and that's that has been well publicized and documented as well. I mean, it really is the model, the template for the rest of the state. Is there anything you can point to, Mayor, that has caused the school district to perform so well?
Well, we've got I served on the school board in Biloxi for 13 years.
Okay.
But people think I live in Biloxi, but I've born and raised in Ocean Springs and lived in Ocean Springs most of my life. But that you got to have the right leadership. You got to have the right leadership, and you have to have the right demographics, I believe. Okay. To maintain the academics.
Yeah. Well, it's been the model, honestly, school district for the state, coming in at the top of the list. And it just seems to me like that we ought to get the other school districts to maybe pay attention and do a little research and find out what they're doing in Ocean Springs School District to create such a great outcome.
Yeah, well, all along the coast we have good school districts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coastwide. So we're blessed in that regard, and it's leadership.
Yeah,
at the school level.
Well, you mentioned healthcare and the thriving downtown area, and of course the quality of education. I mean, those are really the ingredients. I would say safety as well. You'd have to add that into the mix as well. That's what folks look for when they look for a place to live.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt to have that Gulf of Mexico out there either.
Yeah. And there have been lots of residential developments as well. I've got some friends back from central Mississippi that decided to move to Ocean Springs to some of the new residential developments.
Right. We've had some residential growth. The city just went through an annexation 2 months ago. It was settled, and we're rolling out services. But what we found going through the annexation process, looking at the numbers and the geographical area we're trying to absorb, is that we had 11% vacant available land to develop in Ocean Springs, which is extremely low. Most cities would look at starting the annexation process at 35, 40%. But we have all this growth, call it spillover growth, that was going on in the area, but it was not going on in the city limits of Ocean Springs. So.
Well, I didn't really think about that, but if you only had 11%, I mean, that essentially could inhibit your growth prospects.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've annexed, and now you got more land to grow on.
That's correct. We annexed about 1,700 residents and 6 square miles. Ocean Springs has not grown its boundaries in over 20 years.
Okay.
Which has really constricted our growth.
Yeah.
It really has. And now we've diversified our economy a little bit. We took in an industrial park.
Okay.
Our main driven economy is tourism.
Sure.
And it's always been like that.
Yeah.
Going back to the 1800s when Ocean Springs was incorporated, late 1890s.
I'll be darned. Well, one thing I noticed, Mayor, when I visit, and I come down half a dozen times or so a year for business and pleasure, is the entire coast just seems to be thriving, seems to be in good shape.
It is, and we have a good group of mayors on the Gulf Coast. We meet a couple times a year. We're all on the same page. There's no infighting going on. We're competitive.
Friendly competition.
Friendly competition, but as Billy Hughes said, a rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah,
and that's
Mayor of Gulfport, who has announced he's not running for re-election.
Yeah, Billy's I think he's had his fill. He's been at politics a while.
Done a great job of that. But I mean, even, when you go north from the coast, just lots of construction, lots of development, lots of new highways and transportation that I think will serve the entire coastal area very well in the future.
Yes, we, as a matter of fact, the legislature last year approved an $80 million project on Highway 90 between Ocean Springs and Gaucher, which is going to 6-lane the roads that highway and redesign some of the intersections, crossovers, so forth, and move traffic about 6 times faster than what it is now.
It's needed, isn't it?
It is.
Desperately needed.
It's high traffic area.
And the cities will benefit from that. The entire coast area will benefit from that as well. Likely to, wouldn't you think, attract more tourism as a result as well?
I think it will, but primarily it'll help our residents. We have a lot of folks that live and work and play in Ocean Springs, but we have a lot of folks that just live and play in Ocean Springs.
Okay.
A lot of folks in our people, tourist related industry, they work at the casinos, food and beverage type stuff. So they're coming from Biloxi, or they're coming from Keesler, or they're coming from Chevron, or
come from Alabama too, right?
And and they're driving in. So moving that traffic along Highway 90 get them home earlier.
Gotcha. Sounds like a good deal. Mayor, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Mayor Kenny Holloway of the great city of Ocean Springs has been our guest. We're at, once again, the Mississippi Coast Convention Center for the Mississippi Municipal League's annual conference. When